Good Tavach. I'm a little bit tall. I begin by welcoming myself to I guess the first official shul in Haverstraw, Baruch Hashem, and we'll begin with a bracha. I see we have representation from many shuls, and the Siyat Dishmaya. Everyone should in Be'itayu Bizmanoi have their right place to. I'm recording. Am I always recording? Yeah. Should always Be'itayu Bizmanoi. Every shul should have their place to call home, have place to be able to daven and learn, and Siyat Dishmaya, the community should keep on growing. So I was told we're in the middle of Nida. I don't know what we did so far. What did we do so far?
The rice and the
Okay, and now we're doing Vestos. I was told. We're doing Vestos. Beautiful. Vestos. So it's always difficult when you don't really know people personally. You're talking to them, especially Binyane Halacha. Where's everyone holding? So I apologize if I'm too low. I apologize if I'm too high, and stop and ask if it's too quick, too slow, or too quick. Both ends of the spectrum. B'siyat Dishmaya. So I'm going to begin with the words of the Ramban. The Ramban in Al-Chaz Nida says, "Srichin b'nais Yisrael zoher." You have to be careful with Hilchos Nida. But more importantly, with the words of the Ramban is the Shalah HaKadosh, right? B'avnasenu harabim, and this is not new age century blaming everything on technology. This is the Shalah, right? B'avnasenu harabim roiv ha'olam inon yizharais ve'inon mashgichin. No one's listening, no one's following halacha. Al kein anoichi mitzav eschem umazir eschem, and I warn you, shetiu bikiyim be'ilu adinim lilmud ulami lishmar v'lasais, and gives a pretty strong warning. And he's talking specifically about the Prisha b'yimei havas, but really most notably is the Chachmas Adam. I would have thought, if we were to think of our Gedalim, Rav Eliashiv, Rav Moshe Feinstein, imagine, no one ever should go into each other's bedrooms. But for the Gedalim, we could, for a moment in our mind, think, Rav Moshe, he's sitting there writing tshuvas, Gadol Adar. His wife sees her period. So you would think, so what does Rav Moshe do? He says, okay, today is Hey Shvat, and the split second calculates, okay, don't worry, we're going to explain everything. 30 days from now is this, and the Haflaga is this, and the Yom HaChodesh is this, and Kol Tov sells this to his Rebbetzin, and that's it. And a month later, on the Yom HaVes, like a machine, like a computer that Rav Moshe was, Lahavdil on the computers, and not like a machine, he wakes up that morning, he tells his wife, by the way, tonight you're this, and tonight you're that. If he can know Kol Tarakula L'Chayri, he can remember the Yemei HaVest. And certainly the Chachmas Adam himself. But the Chachmas Adam writes, if someone wants to follow the mitzvahs Prisha Ketikuna, Yizoyer, be careful, Lichtayv Tamid, to write down constantly the Yom HaVest, and then you'll be able to follow everything. Okay, no big chiddush. And then he continues, and you can go look through Chachmas Adam. He's not a poetic sefer that on every halacha writes the following. V'kach hayisi noye kol yamai. My entire life, this is what I personally did. V'loy anna li kol oven baruch Hashem hamikadesh amoi. So the Gedalim, the Chachmas Adam, we can't even fathom, if we would try to put in words, Chachmas Adam versus Rav Moshe Feinstein versus our Gedalim, our brains would explode. And the Chachmas Adam himself, when he had a Yom HaVest, when he had Vestos, he himself had his little handy-dandy calendar, and he would write down the Vestos. So, if no one less than a Chachmas Adam, the Shalah is warning us about this. It's incumbent upon us to understand what are Vestos, what exactly the halacha is. And in a short amount of time, we're going to the clock strikes 10. Yeah? Okay. That's not the Ray of Barfeld. As a Rav, you can't just go like that. I'll be here till tomorrow. So you say no one else will be. They'll just leave and I'll continue. Okay, I got a box of Mike and Ice. I'll be good to go.
More.
So then we'll go further. So let's learn a little bit about Vestos. What I'm going to try to do tonight, and my plan of action is as follows. that we each should walk out of this room knowing the following items. Number one, obviously, what is a vest? What exactly does that mean? Okay, I'm assuming that part we know. But number one, how to create a vest calendar. And even if someone says, Rabbi, come on, new age. We got the apps, we got the mikvah calendar, whatever. I even have the paid subscription. I pay my $1.16 a month and leave me alone. Okay, fine. What are the vestos? And what do you have to do on the Yom Vest? You could have a beautiful calendar. But now what? Okay, what do I do now? So that's the plan of action. So we're going to start with what are the vestos, how to create a calendar, and ultimately what is obligated to do on the Yom Vest. So, for those who like background, this begins in Gemara in Shavuos, Daf Yud Tana Rabbanan, quoting a pasuk in Vayikra, V'izhartem es b'nei Yisrael mitamasam. And Rav Ashi alers mikan azhara l'bnei Yisrael sheyifreshu min ha'shayseyem samach levesta. Okay, samach, important words, near her vest, and we're going to translate all these words. There's no worse crime than sitting through a shiur, and the rabbi says the word vest 4,000 times, and you're a guy who's going to say, what in the world is a vest? I just don't know what it means. No one wants to ask, because if the rabbi said the shiur is on vestos, and he said the word 4,000 times, I'm supposed to know that, and then you walk out, you nervously tell the guy next to you, what's a vest? I don't know, what's a vest? And everyone walks out being completely and utterly confused. And yes, I have been there and done that, and therefore I try my best to always remind ourselves to translate even things that maybe are obvious. So what is a vest? A vest is the day that a woman is supposed to see her period. That is her Yoim HaVest. For example, today's date is, I have absolutely no clue. What's today's date? Anyone?
28.
So very good. So mistake number one is that we need the Hebrew date. Perfect. So halacha number one of vestos is everything goes by the Jewish calendar. But if you think that's confusing, here is a wonderful tidbit of history for the next time you meet a Talmid Chacham. There's a fascinating machlokes, Rashba versus Ra'ah. So Baruch Hashem, we paskin like the Ra'ah, that we go by the Jewish calendar. The Rashba went and he held, we go by the Moilad. So imagine, comes up in shul, they give a clap, some guy mumbles something in Yiddish at best, some guy tries to mumble something in Yiddish at worst, they then say it in English, and you walk out and you say, yeah, I know something, Rosh Chodesh supposed to know the Moilad. Says the Rashba, vestos are all up to the Moilad. So there would be new calendars in Klal Yisrael being sold not on the 3rd of Tishrei, because the 3rd of Tishrei is irrelevant. It would be on the 5th day from the Moilad of Tishrei, and we would have no chance. So Baruch Hashem, we paskin like the Ra'ah, that it goes by the Jewish calendar. So everything goes by the Jewish calendar. Whatever the date is. It also goes night and day in the Jewish calendar. Night and day in the Jewish calendar. I don't want to make this too confusing, but night and day in the Jewish calendar usually means what? Usually night is Seisak Chavim, is when the stars come out. Not Shkia. Morning in halacha usually is Alois HaShachar, early in the morning. Now you might know you're allowed to daven this and that, but that's really the halachic day. Nida breaks all rules, which really that's a klal, that's a yesod we should always remember. Nida breaks all rules, and if you really wanted to understand where that rule comes from, where does it come from? Women break all rules. What should I tell you? That's just the way it goes. So, as they say, there's no such thing as a normal this, a normal that. They just throw a woman in there, it makes sense. But it's okay. When the woman hears shiurim, they just blame it all on the men. So it's fine. So whether we can all blame it on the woman. But that's the way it goes. The halachic day in Hilchos Nida does not go from Alois to Tzeis. It goes from Nitz to Shkia. Now, these are details that sound like funny details that don't really matter in your life. Okay, let's continue, and hopefully everything will matter. So what's today's date? One more time. Today in the Jewish calendar is? Thank you, Baruch Hashem. So tonight is Zayin. So tomorrow is Zayin. Beautiful. So let's play out the case. Kalman comes home from the shiur and asks his wife, how's everything? And she says, guess what? You heard a shiur on Vestos. Guess what? Baruch Hashem. Beautiful. I had my period right now tonight. Beautiful. So let's figure this out. So her period is when? On Zayin, on the 7th day of the month at night. So every time there is a period, you have to know those two details. Again, if I'm going too slow, someone just like give me that signal. If I'm going too fast, someone give me that signal. Because I really don't know. I could do it both ways. We could speed up. Should we speed up? Are we being too simple for everyone? Everyone's like nervous to talk right now. I should speed up. Perfect. Okay, we're doing good. The worst answer. Now I have no clue what to do. Okay, let's continue. So she sees her period tonight on the 7th. Beautiful, which means 2 details you need to know. The 7th, and it's at night. Great, you pull out your calendar, you flip to the next month. You find the 7th. And on the 7th, what do you put right, Barfel? The beautiful smiley face, right? Okay, I'll leave the rough to deal with Shalom Bias. I'm not going to talk about that. It's a beautiful frown phrase. Okay, whatever you want, to each their own. That's the day that husband and wife are not going to be together. But at night. Okay, that was not so difficult. A month later, on the 7th, at night, which is the night before, husband and wife cannot be together. All Vestos go by the day or night time period that the woman sees her period. The day or night time period in Allah is called the Aina, Ayin Vav Nun Hey. The Aina when a woman sees. So if she sees at night, the next month husband and wife cannot be together at night. She sees by day, the next month husband and wife cannot be together by day. That was hopefully simple enough. Every time a woman sees blood, there are 3 concerns that we're going to be concerned for the next month. Let's understand, what are we concerned for? Why can they not be together the next month on the 7th? What's the reason? Anyone? We can make this interactive, or if no one wants to, we don't have to. Anyone?
She's gonna get her.
There you go, because she's going to get a period. Thank you very much. So, not only does he take out telecalls, put it on the resume. So, she's going to see her period, and therefore, husband and wife cannot be together because she might see her period on that time period, because we assume that women are quote-unquote normal, which we said they're not, and that's going to explain why nowadays these things are much more complicated. But go back, Bisman Chazal, everything was like a clock. She saw like straight every single month, almost the same time, and it was very simple to the point that there was such a thing as women seeing even on the same hour. Imagine that one. Okay, we can't even fathom women being that normal. But either way, so she sees at night on the 7th of the month. We have to be worried the next month, on the 7th of the month, she's going to see her period as well, and husband and wife cannot be together. For those who want a little bit more lumdus, you just explained the way the Chazayin Ish learns what a vest is. That each month we're worried that the next month she's going to see at that time. Just to take this a drop deeper for anyone who wants a little bit of depth, many Achronim argue, and they say that's not the concern. The concern is, and I think I'm going to lose everyone right now, the concern is that she might see 3 months on that date, thereby creating something called a vest kavua. A vest kavua, we all know something called a chazaka in halacha. Anytime something happens 3 times in a row, that creates a chazaka. So because if in 3 months she's going to see 3 times on the 7th, she's going to have a vest kavua for the 7th. Therefore now, back in month number 1, where she cannot be together because this might be a day that's part of her impending vest kavua lima afreya. Back to your yeshivish days of Mekana Bolam Afreyas. I'm sorry for all the PTSD. So that is the way many Achrayim explain the Vestos. Regardless how you want to learn the lumdus behind it, the bottom line is when a woman sees on this month, the next month on that date, and we'll say the other Vestos are concerned about, husband and wife cannot be together. Just to take your head out of the calendar for a moment, let's take a break and let's understand, what does it mean husband and wife cannot be together? I keep on saying those words, and we have to get a little bit more detailed. I'm going to share with everyone a beautiful story that happened with Harava Goiner Vasher Weiss that I think you'll appreciate. So what does it mean? The husband and wife cannot be together. So what it means is, Tashmish Hamita, there could be no intercourse, husband and wife. Why not? As we explained, because we're afraid on that date she might see her period, she might have her vest, thereby creating a serious problem. Husband and wife cannot be together when she's having her period. I think that part you covered in Shir 1 and 2, I hope. So they can't be together on that date. What else cannot be done on that date? Or is there anything else that cannot be done? Says the Trumas Hadeshin, Tashvish Hamita is what asr. Well, maybe she should have the status of a nida. If she has the status of a nida, there are many other things that are asr, which I'm sure there will be a share about that in the coming weeks. Something called harachakos, no touching, no handing things, all those halachas. Is that asr on the day of the vest? So there's many, many worried faces thinking we're about to get a massive cooler. Says the Chumas Hadeshin, no. That's conclusive. Harachakos are mutter on the day of the vest. So again, 7th she sees, a month later, 7th at night, No tash b'shamita. Could husband and wife, could he hand her the keys? Could he shake her hand? Very formal relationship going on here. Shaking hands before getting to sleep. Okay, listen, teach your own. We're not going to get involved. But I just saw the tshuva from Ramesha about shaking hands. That's where my brain is. Either way, and no, he doesn't say it's mutter like everyone quotes Ramesha on the side. Let's get back to what we're discussing. So, what else is also on the day of the vest? So, they can't have tash shamita. They can, yes, do archakas. What about chibuk v'nishuk? Chibuk v'nishuk. So, there's a middle category that's been created just for the purposes of Vestos. Nowhere else in Nida do you find this. When she's properly in Nida, what is Asr? You'll hear a whole shir about that. Then they can't touch, they can't hand things, all those halachas of archakas. Can't pass the baby. Maybe they could. The touch base, baby carries itself. We're not going to talk about that right now. But what about other things? Could there be hugging and kissing? Chibuk v'nishuk. Says the Heilige Shach, Tavoi alav bracha. It's a bracha. You want to get a bracha from the Shach? No hugging and kissing on the time of the vest. Okay. That's the end of what is Asr on the time of the vest. Here's the beautiful story of the Rav Asher. So, I was in a kollel in Eretz Yisrael. Rav Asher came in to give a shir. He gave a shir on Prisha B'Yem Vest. And he's giving a shir. What's Asr? Tash Shamita. What's Mutter? Chibuk V'nishuk. Someone raises their hand. Okay, yes. Has anyone ever heard or seen Rav Asher? No one. A few people. Okay, those who've seen will appreciate. The rest of you, you'll have to take my word of it. But next time you hear or see him, you'll appreciate this a lot more. So, someone raises their hand, and someone says, Rebbe, what type of chibuk v'nishuk is Asr on the Yom HaVest? Rav Asher stops and says, would you like me to describe to you what chibuk v'nishuk is? And the whole place erupted in laughter, and there went the shir. What Rav Asher thought of us, I have absolutely no clue. But let me explain the depth of that question. It's actually a beautiful Segulah from Moiri the Rabbi Hagoyin Agad Rav Yitzchak Berkowitz about this shtickle, not a shtickle, from the Talmidim, Zera Shmuel. Okay, either way, says what?
He says it.
Yeah. He says it. I say I didn't hear it from him. I heard it from the Talmidim, but the Talmud is here, so it's Chilu from him. Either way, says Hagoyin Agad Rav Yitzchak Berkowitz. What does it mean? Chibuk v'nishuk is Asr. Chibuk v'nishuk is Asr. Says. What's the point? Why is chibuk v'nishuk Asr? I just told you you're allowed to shake your hand. I just told you could pass her the keys. You just can't get into bed and have tashmish. So why is chibuk v'nishuk Asr? So really this boils down to fundamental machlekes shach and taz with the Rosh in the middle over there. We're not getting involved. But why is it Asr? Explains the Achronim. It's Asr because it's the one step before Tash Shamita. And we're worried if there's going to be passionate chibuk v'nishuk, they're going to come to Tash Shamita. So thereby asks the question, husband's leaving to work, wife is going to kollel, or vice versa, I hope. And what happens? Husband or wife, whichever one, wants to give this spouse a kiss on the cheek. Is that allowed? So someone say chibuk v'nishuk. The word nishuk means kiss. So you can't give kiss on cheek. So thereby comes the Achrein. Rav Yitzchak Berkowitz says this explicitly and says, kiss on the cheek is not what we're talking about. We're talking about chibuk v'nishuk, passionate chibuk v'nishuk. That was the question that they meant to ask Rav Asher Weiss, but he didn't really explain it, and thereby interrupted the slight miscommunication with Rav Asher Weiss. So, even if you want to be machmir on the chibuk v'nishuk, a little maisa, a peck in the cheek, a slight hug, a formal handshake, strange marriage, would be allowed. There would be no bracha for that. Okay, so what is also on the day of the vest? You can't have tashmish. Your hachakas are mutter. You no hugging and kissing, l'chumra, tavel of bracha. What about sleeping in the same bed? Sleeping in the same bed. So here we have to go a little bit deeper into the bedroom. We have to understand, what does it mean sleeping in one bed? There's halachic sleeping in one bed, and then there's practical sleeping in one bed. Everyone's looking at me like, what in the world is he talking about? So you have called sleeping in one bed, that there's one bed that they're sleeping in. In halacha, there's something called one bed, which is when the beds are together. That's called one bed in halacha. Hilchos nida, harchakas, the beds have to separate. That was a little far. Beds have to separate. Kabbalah. Okay. Beds have to separate. I got it. So now, what does it mean sleeping in one bed? So, there are many achronim. We're running out of time. We didn't even get to make our calendar yet. But when the dust settles as follows. To sleep in one bed with one set of covers, and we'll throw in there without pajamas, we could all understand that's probably at least at the level of passionate chibuk v'nishuk. I think we could all understand that. I think we'll understand that. Shulchan Aruch Rav writes, quote based on a Ramban, that it's even worse. It's even worse, which we could understand that as well. But what if either they're having separate covers, or maybe they're in halachic one bed, they're in separate beds, but the beds are touching, that lemaisa would be mutter. So again, if it's a nighttime vest, not only should there not be any Tasha Shamita, but there shouldn't be one bed, one cover, sleeping together, no clothing, etc., etc. Okay, now that we know what is asr on the day of the vest, let's go into and we know why things are asr on the day of the vest. Let's explain what are the days of the vest. So we already spoke about the Yom HaChodesh. What does that mean, the day of the month? We already said that is the lunar Jewish calendar, not the secular English calendar. Beautiful. Number one. Number two is called Aina Beinanis. Aina Beinanis. What is Aina Beinanis? Day 30. Day 30. Everyone with the day 31ers, slow down. We'll get there in a minute. Chavazdas, calm down. Day 30. Day 30, which means, this is going to sound very simple and stupid, but unfortunately this is a terrible mistake many people make. When you count to 30, how do you count to 30? No one go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. You count including the day. So for example, if someone goes home, like says, I just saw my period tonight on the 7th. So on the calendar tomorrow on Sunday, you're going to put an X, a smiley face, a red line, something. Now you're going to count 30 days from Sunday. Tomorrow is Sunday. Tonight is Multi Shabbos. Tomorrow is Sunday. When you count those 30 days, Sunday is day 1. Monday is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm not going to go all the way. When you get to 30, on day 30 is the Aina Beinis. For those, I don't want to call them geeky, for those very, very intelligent people here that their brains work like calendars, you would say, obviously, that's just 4 weeks, and the next day is day 30. That's actually, I saw that in Ray Forrest's book. Some people think that's obvious. I thought that's a beautiful trick. 4 weeks and the next day. So if it's Sunday, count 1, 2, 3, 4, boom, Monday is going to be day 30. If that's too much to remember, just remember count to 30, including the day that you saw. If that sounded very, very simple, next time you actually try to be like, wait, do I count the day or do I not count the day? And your wife's like, just count to 30. You're like, okay, so you don't know how to count to 30? You're like, no, so she's like, just 1. You're like, where's the 1? Is it Sunday or is it? So it's including the day that you see. We'll just hopefully have saved you a little bit of your shalom bayis. That is 2 days of the vest that you're chayish for. What is the third? The third is called the haflaga, the interval day. What is the interval day? So you saw tonight on the 7th. When's the interval? You can't have an interval if you don't know the next time they saw. So let's say in 4 weeks, not on that Monday, but on that Wednesday they saw. What day is that?
32.
Someone's very good at math. I'm going to count it. 31, Tuesday. Yeah, I'm very bad at counters. All the things that I say people don't want to count, that's myself. So, yes, that's 32. Very good. So, on Wednesday, that's 32 interval. That's an interval of 32. What does that mean? That means the next month, you start from that day on Wednesday, and you count 32 days, and that is yours. Those are the 3 basic vestes that every Jew in Klal Yisrael has to keep. What else do you have to do on the day of the vest? And all those who are waiting for the chumras, don't worry, they're coming. We say them all for the end, day 31, and there is a Ruah, and the crazy uplacey, and the multiple bedikas on the day of the vest. We're getting to all the chumras for those who came to hear chumras. But let's first understand what the halacha, the ikar hadin is. We don't want to flush the chumras because of the ikar hadin. So, those are the 3 days of the vest that were chayshish. On the day of the vest, you can't be together with your wife. Hugging and kissing is a chumrah. Harchakas is mutter. What else? There has to be a bedika. What is a bedika? That sounds like a silly question, but someone asked me that this past week. And no, he was not from Haverstraw, so let's all stop the racial profiling. He is currently living in Eretz Yisrael. What is a bedika? So I answered him like Rav Asher Weiss. Would you like me to show you? No, I didn't say that. So a bedika is, this is a finger and this is a bedika cloth. It's actually tissue. Don't use it as a bedika cloth. It's going to make a bloody mess, literally. So this is a bedika. You take the bedika cloth, you wrap it around your finger, not yours, Chavra, your Rebbitzins. So she wraps it on her finger and then she does a terminal examination. On a bedika, like we're discussing, you just go in and out. On a bedika, for the 7 clean days, the Shiva Nikiyim, Hefsek Taira, then you're going to twirl on the way in and twirl on the way out. If that sounded very complicated, whoever gives the shir on Zayin Nikiyim, make sure to raise your hand and say, what does it mean to do a bedika on the Hefsek Taira? And hopefully everyone will understand. If it's the Rav, will understand the joke. If it's someone else, Rabbi Barfeld, you'll have to explain to them what's going on. So on the day of the vest, you do a bedika. How many bedikas on the day of the vest? I'd like to take a poll. Right now. This is an honest poll. If you don't want to answer, you don't have to. You could abstain. How many bedikas do you do the day of the vest? Does anyone want to answer? Anyone? No one wants to answer. 1, 2, 1,
Depends.
2, depends.
Depends on
Which vest?
Depends on which vest. Depends on where you're holding in the shalom bayis. Okay, so how many bedikas do you day in the vest? So the answer to that question is Medina. You know what? I'm going to blame this one on the Chazain Ish, so no one gets upset at me. So Bershus the Rav, I would like to share with everyone a beautiful Tzitz Eliezer. So there's a Chazain Ish. There's 2 Chazain Ishes. And the Chazain Ish in one place in Yerdei in Pesach Katan Chaf writes you need to do 2 bedikas on the day of the vest. 2 Sivkatans later, he writes Kol Vestos Rak Sarich Lasis Bedika Achas. 1 vest. 1 bedika. So what is it? 2 or 1? Chazain Ish. It's been 2 Sivkatans. How many bedikas do you do? You can't contradict yourself in your own sefer. Comes on the Tzitz Eliezer, and he writes, a Chazain Ish was Chayzer Lamaisa, and he held you only need to do 1 bedika. That's what the Chazain Ish writes. Many svarim, including Hagoyin Egon Moshe Feinstein, writes, L'chatchila, you should be doing 2 bedikas. So what we'll say is, L'chatchila to do 2 bedikas, but L'maisa, you need to do 1. And I think everyone has to understand what that means. Again, I don't want to make this confusing, but in the summer months, the nighttime is not that long. To do 2 bedikos in the night on a summer month is not so simple. Why? So the first one before she goes to sleep is going to be night. Unless she's going to sleep very early, but that's a different story. I know, she is like 8:30, she's going to sleep 8, no, that's, okay. So she do 1 bedika before she goes to sleep. The second bedika has to be before Nitzachama. So she has to wake up to do that bedika. I don't believe anyone, does anyone hold they has to wake up to do the bedika? That's even in the old country, I don't think they say that. I don't think so. So, Lemaisa, 2 bedikas lechatchila, 1 bedika lemaisa. What?
In the old country.
Yeah, in the old country. I meant the old country. Yeah, but in the old country, they all were up, so therefore the Shadow didn't exist. But yeah, very good. So you do 2 bedikas and or Ladini do 1 bedika. Before we conclude, we need to understand probably the most important halacha of the whole night. If you remember just this, it was all worthwhile. I've said about every halacha, so it's not fair. But the halacha I'd like to talk about is that there's three vestes that we spoke about tonight. There's Yom HaChodesh, there's Ayin HaBeinis, and there's the Vest Aflaga, the day of the month, day 30, and the interval vest. Are all these 3 vestes created equal? The answer is absolutely not. And this is the most important halacha, the most abused, unfortunately, halacha, which makes many people violate Hilchos Nida and have to have Shovavim in order to remind themselves and do Baruch Hashem tshuva for Hilchos Nida. And of course, the greatest tshuva for violating Hilchos Nida says, everyone, if you want a marmakum, I'm not giving you marmakum, everyone, that learning, I think the Choshani writes it explicitly, the Shem Shmuel writes it also, for those who want both sides of the camp, that is learning the halacha is the greatest tshuva. Oina Beinanis is created different. Oina Beinanis has the status of vest kavua. Now what does that mean? I didn't really say anything about vest kavua tonight. Pardon, I apologize. It's because, for lack of a better word, the only place it exists are in the Sfarim. I'm sure you've ever had one?
Yeah. Recently.
Oh, there you go, Baruch Hashem. So it exists. There you go. We have it in the real flesh. We've seen it. I have not been zeicha yet. Okay, hopefully one day. But lemaisa, it's not so common. That's why we didn't talk about it tonight. But either way, oina benis is din a vestibule. Who cares? This is the following reason. What happens again? 7th tonight. She sees a month later. 7th is coming her vest day. Okay, so let's plan. Okay, so it's going to be in 4 weeks on Monday is the vest, which is Sunday night. Thank you. Sunday night, which means on Sunday, husband and wife over dinner. By the way, FYI, tonight, no, we cannot be together. Very good. Don't worry, all the people who are getting all nervous about the chumras that they should already not be together because of the Arzarua. We're going to conclude with that. But tonight, on Sunday night, they cannot be together. Great. What else do we learn? They have to do bedika on Sunday night. Beautiful. What else? Harchakas are allowed. Pash v'chivik v'nishik is not allowed. Wonderful. What happens when you forget to do the bedika? Why did you forget? Because you forgot. Why did you forget? If you want it to be nice, we blame it on the woman. If you want it to be nice, we just say because you forgot, like things in life, we forget. You wake up Tuesday morning. What happened between Shabbos and Tuesday? Don't ask any questions. You wake up Tuesday morning and, my vest was Sunday night. What do I do now? Husband and wife are still forbidden to be together until Rebbitzin does a bedika. I'll repeat that again. On the Oina Bainis, which we said is day 30, you have to do a Badika, you have to do an internal examination. If you forget, you are forbidden to be together until you do a Badika. That is the critical halacha of the Oina Bainis. The other Vestos, the Yom HaChodesh, the day of the month, the Haflaga, the interval day, you still have to do a Badika on that day. But if you forgot, you are mutter afterwards. On the Oina Bainis, if you forget, you are not mutter afterwards. If you forget long enough that she is pregnant now, based on a pregnancy test, says Rav Moshe Feinstein, you can now be mekel. He doesn't say it about this case, I'm aware, I know, he says it about the pregnancy test. I just wanted to throw in that halacha. Once you have the positive pregnancy test, then you don't have to worry about vestes. So again, I repeat one last time before we end with all the beautiful chumras. The repeat is as follows. On the Yom HaChodesh, she saw on the 7th, Bedika. Forget? Okay, you missed the din, it was a din d'Rabbanan, and you missed it. Wonderful. Not wonderful, but it happens. Move on in life. On the Haflaga, do a Bedika. You missed it. What happens? Nothing. Move on in life. On the Oina Bainis, day 30, or in this case, night 30, Sunday night, do a Bedika. You forgot, you wake up Monday morning. Husband and wife cannot be together until you do Bedika. Monday night, Tuesday morning, Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, Wednesday night. I'm not going to play it out forever, but they cannot be together until they do a Bedika. Before I end with the Chumras, I'll just throw in anyone who is on birth control, Alpid, Savoas, and Haskamas, your Rav, or I'll just throw everyone into Rabbi Barfeld over here. It's part of Ta'areinu, within the contract. That anyone, and that's, by the way, and this I will mention from Ta'areinu, this is important. Yes, you should always ask Rav about birth control on the halachic angle. Why else should you ask Rav about birth control? I'm sure Rabbi Barfeld will mention this many, many times. For your own personal well-being. Why? Because doctors don't, we're recorded, okay, doctors don't care about you. No, let me explain that. Of course they care about you, they love you, and they want to make sure, what you say? A doctor's here, perfect. If the doctor gives the rabbi, beautiful, let me explain. They care that you ask them for birth control. Great, so they want to have the control of the birth. Does the doctor take into consideration that you're Jewish, and if this birth control pill is going to make you stain, it's going to cause your life a lot of aggravation? No. Does the doctor necessarily even know that? No, because in the secular non-Jewish world, it's irrelevant to them. So you stay and move on in life. Who cares? Put on a pad and move on. What's the relevance to your life? The Rabbanim, especially those that specialize in this matter, will tell you that this pill, by the way, is going to cause you tsaros. This pill will be better. This birth control is better. And this is not as good. This is more comfortable. This is going to cause aggravation, etc., etc. So aside for the halachic angle that you should be talking to a rabbi before you take birth control, in the practical realm, you shall do the same. And now, what I was saying about birth control is, if someone is on birth control, I don't want to say a blanket statement, but I'll say a modified blanket statement. Ask a rav, but very possibly all of Vestos do not apply to such a person. It's not really a proper statement, because when you stop taking it, and you know the period's coming, but what do you mean stop taking it? Just go straight for as long as you want. Never take the placebo. Those pills are nothing. Those you give to the kids as candy. Okay, I understand. Let's move on in life. And now, it's funny, right, Barfeld? It seems like they're all doing that. Okay, I'm not sure what's going on here. Let's conclude with Chumras, okay? Chumras, I'm sorry, it's a little bit late. It's 10:06. Chumras take us about 2 minutes, 60 seconds to wrap up, and we'll call it a day. Chumras are as follows. We said on the business is day 30. There are opinions that hold most notably the Haverstraw that it is 31. That is 31. We said that the day that you're separated from each other is whatever you see the day or night time period. Says the Arzarua, it is not only the day or night time period, it is the previous Einis. Anyone who's going to get confused now, just turn off your brain for 90 seconds. Don't flush the rest of this year based on this confusion. At least know the Ikar Halacha. But the Arzarua, the previous vast, you also, so on the example that we gave, on that Sunday night, you cannot be together. Also, on Sunday day. Someone here is giving me those darning eyes. Sunday day is Chas v'Shalom, you can't be together at day. Again, different story. Maybe you have blackout curtains, maybe you don't. Maybe you didn't ask a shayla, maybe you did, maybe you should. Let's not get involved in that. That's probably going to be a different area. Right now we're trying to get the basics down pat. That is the Arzarua. That is Arzarua. When does the Arzarua apply? When does it apply? So many people just say everywhere, and again, Bershos, the Rav, we will say over the wonderful Lumdis. I think this is Rabbi Berkowitz Lumdis. I hope I have it right. Or he argues. You'll correct me. I don't remember. The brain just turned off. I think this is his lungs. I think so. That is follows. What is the Arzarua's concern? The Arzarua's concern is Shema Hikdim Vest Ta, with a hay at the end. What does that mean? We explained so beautifully that what are we concerned when she sees it the seventh night? The next month, seventh night, she's going to see her period as well. Says the Arzarua, women aren't like clocks. Perhaps she'll see early. Says the Arzarua, don't only abstain at night, abstain the day-night, the oina time period prior, because maybe hikdim vesta. Says the Achronim, and I believe Rabbi Berkowitz, I saw this from as well. On an oina baininess, it makes no sense to say what I just said. Why does it make no sense? What is the concern of day 30? The concern of day 30 is that maybe this woman is normal. Maybe, listen, it happens sometimes. And the normal way of seeing in the world, the mode, M-O-D-E, to use a sixth grade, I think it's algebra, I don't remember, math term for all of you, the average woman sees on day 30. So if the average woman sees on day 30, and the Arzura says she personally might see early, those two statements don't talk to each other. Because we're being nervous, she might see like the world sees on 30. She might see earlier, that has nothing to do with the world. And therefore on the Aina Bainis, there is no Arzura. Again, if I lose you, don't flush everything else away. However, on the Arzarua, there's someone else called the Crazy Uplaisi. And everyone's like, Crazy Uplaisi, I thought I went to Chazi classes. I never heard that name in my life. Sounds like a bad pizza store. The Crazy Uplaisi says as follows. We're going to lose everyone in this one, right? Everyone. No? Yeah, we have one. Okay, good. Baruch Hashem. Thank you. Just nod, even if it makes no sense to you. Says the Crazy Uplaisi, we're not only nervous, Shemehiktim Vesta. That's not all we're nervous about. Says the Crazy Uplaisi, women are really not so normal. And you know what we're concerned on Aina Bainis? Not just 30 days later on that day-night time period, for the entire day 30. Entire day 30. Now, for those who are good with math and calendars, watch. An example that we gave, everyone's listening? She saw Motzei Shabbos. 4 weeks later, Sunday night. If there was an Arzarua, 30 days later, when would she be concerned? Sunday day. There is no Arzarua, so Sunday day, double smiley face, their mother. What their mother for, we're not talking about right now. Now, says the Crazy Uplaisi, that was just talking about if you let out Tashish by day. I don't know what those eyes were for. That's all I was talking about. That's nothing to do with this. So now, says the Crazy Uplaisi, we're not nervous the Aina before, but we're nervous the whole block of day 30. What's the block of day 30? Monday. Well, she saw a night, thank you. It's a Monday. It's a Monday. And if it would be by day, it would be the night before. A block of time includes night and day. So if it's a night, it's the night and then the next day. If it's the day, it's the day and the night before. That's what the Crazy place. He says that one should be concerned on day 30. That is basically the end of the Chumras, the base mayor. I'm not even trying. We can leave off the base mayor? We can leave off the base mayor. Anyone who really wants to hear about the base mayor, we'll talk about it afterwards. Those are the Chumras. What's the Psak-Alach? Psak-Alach, all those Chumras, as the Chachani writes so eloquently, are Zarua Latzadik. They're Chumras. They say, Shana Zalman says, don't teach our Zarua to Shana Rishayna. Great. And everyone says, well, I never learned Hilchos neither since Shana Rishayna. So whatever I learned then, halavai, I know 10% of it now. I hear that's a big problem. But that's definitely the way that it's taught about the beginning of one's life, not to go with our Zarua. Later on in life, what I will say is, Zeu Chacham Haroya Es HaNoilad. You know what's going to be. So if someone knows that on Sunday night is their vest, so be together, Motzei Shabbos, and get out of any problems. It's usually the issues become when you're not together the day before the vest, then the next time you run into issues. Those are the Chumras. So the Chumras are day 31, the Chumras are the Arzarua, the Chumras are the 24-hour time block of day 30. People here are asking, do we have to put them all together? And you could have be very inventive and get somehow 72 hours that you're usher. It's all Chumras. Bedikas are on the day of the vest. There are some achronim that say that if you're going to combine back-to-back vestos, which could happen if you're doing good math, maybe the bedika should be at the end. Some say at the beginning. I'll say at least do a bedika. So the 60-second wrap up, and I apologize that we went slightly over time, is as follows. Every woman that sees has something called a vest. A vest is the impending day that she's expected to see in the next month. There's 3 days that she has to be concerned. On the day that she sees it's the Yom HaChodesh, on the 30-day interval, perhaps 31, perhaps the vest of the Aina before, perhaps the 24-hour time period, and the Haflaga, the interval day of seeing. What is forbidden on that day? Tash Mishamita. Lo Chumra passionate hugging and kissing, sleep in the same bed, okay, separate covers, or at least in separate beds. And we'll conclude with the words of the Pele Yayitz that says the Pele Yayitz, everyone wants to have good children, everyone wants to have good chinuch. He says, the zehiros that one has, b'seder kedusha b'meinida, kach yizoke l'nefesh kedusha el havalad, v'ahepich lehepich. So no one wants a hepech lehepich, psiyat deshmaya, the schos of learning Hilchos Nida, being zohir in Inyani Kedusha, should be mizaka everyone with Yizake lenefesh Kedusha levalad, shkoyach, akuta.